So this is about art that can be created at home. For those of you that don't know, or those that follow me, my name's Matt Cockrell. I'm a ninth year art teacher. It's my second career, so I am a little older than that. So um, I teach at Martha Lane Collins High School in Shelbyville, Kentucky, which is just east of Louisville, Kentucky, or Louisville, or however you want to say that. Um, I've taught K through 12 at two separate school districts in Kentucky. The first school district was about 500 students in the whole district, a small independent private, or not private, a small independent public school. And now the school district I teach in, we have about 8,000 students. And the school that I'm in has about 1,200 students. Those that follow me or don't follow me or don't know, I am Mr. C's art class. So I do a lot of videos, a lot of postings for my class. And so if you want to go and follow me, it's at the bottom there, Mr. C's art class at MC Art Class 40. So art that can be created at home. Here are some resources I use in class that should be able to help you with some planning or some things that you want to do to figure out how you can do some of these things for your students, or how they can do some projects at home. So search on YouTube Euromax Art, which has some great videos basically about different processes, different sculptors, a lot of sculptors that use materials that aren't ordinary, they're unique. Wikipedia, lists of lists. I think I said that right. But lists of lists. If you have ever seen some of my Twitter, some of the projects we do, I post the humongous lists on there. And the list has, it has anything and everything. And the reason why I like lists is it focuses students instead of, giving them an idea and then they just run with it. But the problem with that is they sit there and think for like days and weeks, and they just don't have a direction. That's why I like lists. And then holidayinsights.com. Every day is a holiday. And really, every day really is a holiday, like National Pickle Day or National Potato Chip Day or National Handwriting Day. We'll talk about that here later on in my presentation. Here's some materials that can be found at home that you could use to do some projects that we've done in my classes. I post some of these things on my Twitter, but also you can use these at home because these are readily available materials like cassette tapes, books, paper, rocks, marbles, golf tees, corn on the cob skewers. Corn on the cob skewers, the little things that poke on the end, and you just take that corn on the cob and just so let me go on to my next one. This is the cassette tape. This is something that we've done in class. My students have done, and basically you take the cassette tape, they cut it up, and then they just kind of lay it out with cassette tape and glue and scissors, and that's it. So this is a Freddie Mercury. The student did really, really well. Two different shades of the tape helped to create that. Yes, he drew it out first, and a few others drew theirs out, but just about half of them, they just started laying down the cassette tape. But there's different ways to do it. And that's what I like about art and the processes of art. That not every way is the same. There are different ways to go about doing things. So that was cassette tape art. That is something that students can do at home. Even in this day and age of digital, a lot of the parents still have those kind of things, those kind of resources. This one here is books. So the books, who doesn't have books at their house? Everybody has books. Everybody has that resource. So what I did was I took I took the books. I took the books and I just created a sculpture where I stacked the books and um, tried to just do something that, you know, I had no plan. I was just kind of like going with it and just figuring it out as I go. So if you look at that, like it didn't work. So I had to like, you know, disassemble it because it was going to fall. I had it stacked the wrong way. So, you know, I'm kind of just like, you know, learning as I'm going and I'm stacking and trying to get things, you know, so it balances itself out. Just a huge balancing game. And with books, you can create any type of sculpture, any type of size, width, height, whatever. You know, it's totally up to you. It's totally up to your student. And that's kind of how I teach. How do you create it? It's not how I tell you how to create it. How do you create it? Paper. So paper sculpture. This is something that this is from earlier in the you know, my first year or two at Collins High School, where I'm at now. So this was about, you know, 4 years ago. So I took the paper, one sheet of paper each student had, and they basically had to just use the paper and the cutout. From inside the cutout, if you look down here, like the pond where the tree is, that pond is how the cabin was created. So X-Acto knives, scissors, one sheet of paper. I used thick drawing paper instead of like, you know, something that's going to have like substance to it, something that's not so thin like copy paper. You know, this is 120-pound drawing paper, so it's fairly thick. So and then another one here is handwriting. Handwriting is something I do in class. I remember my high school art teacher, we would do calligraphy, and she would always print up these packets. And the packets that she would print up, we would have to trace over top the letter. Oh, why would we want to do that? But we did anyway. And I guess we kind of learned a little bit about calligraphy, I guess. I don't use tracing, but my students don't trace. So like with this video here, if you see that pen, that is a dip pen, and you dip it into an inkwell. You know, we practice lettering over the course of 2 months. We build ourselves up towards National Handwriting Day. Handwriting check. Is it ever gonna change? Am I gonna feel this way? And this is also something that I created off of TikTok. So I TikTok for about, you know, 3 months. And, you know, the kids are on it. The kids were excited. They said, hey, you should create a TikTok. I did some dances. It was awesome. But I found that I ended up staying on TikTok longer than what I really wanted to. It was very addicting. So I deleted that. I wish I hadn't, because, you know, there's still some good, you can still create some good things with TikTok, you know, some good, some good things with the word, with the music and with the lettering, and you know, you can reach a lot of kids because that's what kids are on today, TikTok and Snapchat, not so much Twitter. That's kind of the older people's thing, you know, like me, Twitter. I tried to dabble into some Instagram too, but, you know, Twitter's really my thing, TikTok's their thing, and there's kind of a little disconnect there. But, you know, so handwriting. My students and I, let me get on that handwriting for a little bit. My students and I, I teach them basic straight with a dip pen into the inkwell, how to hold the pen, what angles to hold the pen, 45 degrees and 45 degrees. I teach them for about about 2 months, building up to January 23rd. This past year was the 3rd year in a row where I've taken 25 of my best Art 1 students to elementary schools in our district. This year we did 3, so we spread that all over 2 days. And the year before that we did 2, the year before that we did 1. My students teach these 4th grade students how to write with a dip pen. It's amazing, and the kids love it. Not just the elementary kids, but my kids, because they actually get to, show what they've learned and get to show the processes, and just being involved with that. It's kind of it's a real good giving back type project. So handwriting at home, this is something that I tried out the other day, where I took the corn cob pokers, and then I have sesame oil and then some caramel, some imitation caramel, and then some Tabasco sauce. And I was thinking, how can we do calligraphy at home when there's no dip pens, there's no ink, all that stuff's in the classroom? So how can we use this stuff? How can we do this? So I decided, I'm gonna experiment and see what I can come up with. So tobacco sauce, the imitation caramel. And then what I realized was, after doing this, it was cool to try it, to attempt it, to try something different. But man, it was hard. It was really hard, mainly because you couldn't get the liquid to attach to what each one of those were. Like with the golf tee, there was no it was the lacquer on the golf tee would not allow for the oil to attach itself, so it would instantly run off. The same thing for the pokers. The pokers would also fall off because it had no way to attach. The oil had no way to attach, or the Tabasco sauce. So I just had to try something different. I had to do something different. And here's another thing why I like doing this right here. Attempts to do handwriting with something different. That's what art is just experimenting and doing something different, Yeah, I could have done something digital, and I probably will. Digital is really not my thing. I'm kind of more of a studio artist, studio art teacher. Those that watch my Twitter, it's clay. There's only so much you can do with clay when you're at home doing digital. There's some apps to do, but it's just not the same. So what are some things that I can create for students to do at home that's they can put it in their hands and make things with their hands? Needless to say, the last 2 weeks have been challenging. But hopefully when we get back from spring break, that's this coming week for us. Hopefully when we get back from that, I'll try to have some things dialed in just a little bit more. This is something else that you could have your kids do: pickle blotting. Pickle blot drawing. Sounds like pickleball. Well, pickle blot is as simple as it says. I'll let you watch that, and then you try to figure out what it is I'm doing here. So yes, those are pickles that I took out of the jar and laid it down on the paper. Now I'm blotting up all the juice. I drew out around my images, around the spots that I blotted, to make whatever kind of abstracted, whatever it is, Gumby, something abstracted Pickle Man, or something like that. Again, something else that the kids probably have at home. They probably have pickles. Why in the world would somebody use pickle juice and pickles to create art? Why not? Why not step outside the box and do something different, other than, I have nothing against the digital, but everybody does the digital. What's something different that you can do? That's what I'm going for. Those are the things that I push in my classes at school. Those are the things that I push now that we're home and away from school and trying to do digital. So something that, the kids will remember, and they'll think, oh my gosh, this is art class. I'm doing this for art. This is something else too. Those of you that have experienced some type of a budgetary cut, I had a little bit of a budgetary cut this year. What can I reuse again and again and again and again and again? And when I thought about that, and I thought about this project here, I thought, conserving materials, conserving items, like that pack of bologna in my fridge. You know, it might have been in there for 3 weeks, but I still have 3 slices left. I'm going to eat it all. I'm not going to just pitch it. I'm going to use it. Okay. So, or like that tub of French onion dip, you know, it's all the way down to the bottom, and I scrape it out and I eat it, and I'm done with it. I'm done with the container. So do I throw it away, or do I reuse it for something else, for leftovers? Well, I reuse it. You know, that's just how I was raised when I was growing up. And that's just something I continued. So this is a sculpture that I used the Q-tips, and I thought I would make something that, you know, something that made me think about not just reusing, but how can I make it to where it's like my big thing it's in school is nature and advocacy. Sorry, I just burped there for a second. Nature and advocacy, what can I do? Well, then I thought of the dandelions blowing through the wind. And isn't that really what we are doing anyways? We're just basically dandelions blowing through the wind. I know it's a little deep right now for Friday evening, but something to think about. Something to think about with your art. There's got to be something else there other than, okay, I created it, I made the forms, I made the shapes, I made the elements of the art. Yeah, I did that, but what else is there? What other hidden meaning is in there? What else can I do to create substance and bulk within that project? And here's the last slide that I have. Personal projects for me of what I'm doing over break. So if you look at stop at the bottom right in the middle here, that's opening up my basement. I opened that up and I thought, you know what? I want to do something with this. It's just a blank, empty space. We don't use it for nothing. What can I do? Well, I thought, well, I'll do some abstracted shapes. What if I cover the whole entire area here on the right, in the middle, and on the left in these abstracted boxes? Cover the whole area. I will keep you all updated on this. I will post to Twitter, and hopefully here in the next, in the next week, it'll possibly be this whole side. But I will keep you updated on as far as what that looks like. And then another project is I'm drawing on the sidewall here, national parks. National parks is my thing in class. I love the advocacy piece of the National Parks Conservation Association. I got a pretty good connection through that. We've done some things last summer with them and National Geographic. And so I've decided to, on this wall, the images drawn out already is of Grand Teton National Park in Wyoming. The top right is going to be Acadia National Park in Maine. The one on the bottom left, and I know these aren't drawn out yet, but I just started. The one on the bottom left is going to be of Arches National Park in Utah. And the one on the bottom right, I have not decided on what that's going to be yet, but, you know, parks that represent, you know, all portions of the country, okay, in different areas of the country, parks that I've been to, parks that, you know, we advocate for in my art classes through watercolor, pastel, pointillism, you know, different mediums and processes. And you know, just like the Q-tip project, something that goes beyond creating with mediums, something that adds bulk and substance and pushes beyond the walls of the classroom, so that, you know, the kids, the students are involved in some real world project that could have change for the better. So as I end this presentation, I say, what can you do to push your students, push their creativity in another direction, other than just, well, we are out of school and we have to do the computer and that's just it? Can you still do art at home with things that are around the house? Can you create sculpture? Can you push their level of thinking to a deeper level that includes lists, that includes holidays, that includes advocacy issues, that includes other things other than the project itself, that dives deep and has them like reflect and really think about their project and themselves in a different way. So with that, I leave you. And thank you for watching my presentation. I'm going to go ahead and get off this real quick. But there were some great questions when we did the group. But I appreciate everybody, and I appreciate this NAEA 20 and Tim Needles and Jean Bjork. I hope I'm saying that right. And then many others. Matt Grunler, Matt and Laura Grunler. Thank you all so much for your help with the Zoom. And I know I'm missing some others, but those that are in the chat and the current email right now, I think there's 17 of us. Thank you all so much for your help and your feedback and your guidance with this process. And we'll definitely see y'all down the road soon. And those that don't follow me on my Twitter, please do so. But y'all have a great evening.